Hey everybody, this is the beginning of pre-calculus, and so we're going to talk about interval notation. And with this part here, it's something that you probably have never seen before, but is actually very simple. And when we go into the next courses, it's important that you know how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is go back to what you learned in maybe Math 2, maybe Math 1, and we're going to talk about graphing inequalities on a number line. So let's say we have these two. Now, when we used to do this before on a number line, we went on and drew the number line out. We put 0 in the middle, and then we put the numbers on the sides. And we went on and shaded on the correct direction. And then we went on and put the open and closed circle. So here, we know we shade over here because the inequality says x is greater than 0. So it's bigger than 0. And what we did originally was put an open circle there because there was no equal sign here. It was just greater than or equal to, greater than or less than sign was an open circle, and then greater than or equal to was a closed circle. So that means here on this side, on this one, we have 0 in the middle again, and we shade it over on the left side because it says x is less than or equal to 0. So we shaded on this side, and we had a closed circle. Closed circle there. And this was in the past, or in past courses, math courses. But in this course, or for any of the advanced courses, like for example, AFM, Advanced Functions and Modeling, Pre-Calculus, or AP Cal, or etc., etc. Instead of using open and closed circles like we have in the past, let me write that down. Instead of using open and closed circles, we will use brackets and parentheses. And so, to match up the correct pieces together, if we were to have an open circle, which we know that's the less than or greater than sign, instead of us using the open circle now, we are going to use parentheses. So this is our old way. This is our new way. And this is our inequalities inside of here. Okay, so again, the old way for the other part was the closed circle. And we know that meant, let's put this line down here so we can kind of almost like make a table here. We know this was a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And thus with our brackets. So from now on, instead of us using open and closed circles when it comes to interval notation or just graphing functions and everything, we're going to use open and close brackets, or parentheses. Brackets or parentheses. We're going to use either one of those. So that means really quickly, before we actually go into like any type of work with it, if we go back to the original, so we're going to be using the original functions that we had, or inequalities we had, inequalities. And so if we look at this part here, Again, we're going to draw the number line like normal. We put 0 in the middle like normal there. On the number line here, we'll go ahead and shade it like we did before. So we're going to have the 0 in the middle here again, and we're going to shade on this right side, just like we did before earlier. Nothing changes on that part. But instead of actually using open and closed circles, because this is a greater than sign, it means it's going to be here. This means we're going to be using parentheses. Now, the biggest part here is knowing whether we're going to use this parenthesis or that parenthesis. And the key is always the parenthesis or the bracket is going to cup around the shaded region. So if we were to look at it and we were to put in, try to get my pencil out here. We're going to put in, let's say we use this back one here. If we put it right there, that means it's going to hit the back of it. We don't cup around the actual shaded part. It just hits the back of it and then bounces off. We don't need that. We want it to cup around the shaded part. So that means here that we can't use this side. We have to use this side because it cups around that shaded area. So the shaded area is here. It cups around it. So that's it for that part. So then we go to the other one. Again, we have the number line going. We put a 0 in the middle. We know we shade less than, because again, it's a less than sign. And on this one, do we use the brackets or the parentheses? Brackets. And why? Because it's an equal to sign. So it's less than or equal to. So that means we have to use one of these. So it means it's a bracket. So again, we're trying to cup it around the shaded part. So we can't use this one because that's not cupping around the shaded part. That's hitting the back of it, which doesn't make sense. It's like you're trying to pour water into the back of a cup instead of into the cup. We need to pour it into the cup. So here we're going to do a bracket around here. And that's the interval notation part. That's the graphing part. And again, I'm going to write this note down, and then that's when I'm going to start the video. Again, so notice here, the bracket and a parenthesis cups around the shaded region. So it's not bad. It's pretty easy. And then now we're going to move on to the next thing.